We're going to talk about downsizing.
Going through a divorce, you have to sell the matrimonial home.
Don't need 4,000 square feet anymore, or even 3,000 square feet.
It has reduced in value, much like what you're going to sell.
When I'm thinking about the next home, when I'm downsizing,
You want to determine what to do with that money.
should I buy first or should I sell first?
That's the age-old question, isn't it?
Hello, folks. Welcome to the Mortgage Den. I'm Nick Dasilva from Northwood Mortgage. And today we have Ray Nakon from Royal LePage Credit Valley. Welcome, Ray.
It's my pleasure, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Today, Ray, we're going to talk about downsizing. I'm told that you are the king of downsizing
Well, thanks.
when it comes to helping people downsizing. Let's first talk about downsizing. What does downsizing really mean?
Well, it means several things, Nick. You have your traditional downsize where you're aging and you want to reduce your footprint. Then you also have other factors. Perhaps you're going through a divorce and you have to sell the matrimonial home. And as a result, you need to downsize. Both couples need to downsize. Then you have kind of the non-traditional aspect of downsizing, the estate sale, the power of attorney. These are generally handled by trustees or a power of attorney.
So we're talking retirees, we're talking divorcees, possibly talking empty nesters,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Who kids have moved out, don't need 4,000 square feet anymore, or even 3,000 square feet. They want to move into something a little smaller,
Exactly.
right? Something that's easier to clean and to maintain and stuff like that.
Yes, yes.
Why does it matter in any market when it comes to downsizing?
When you're downsizing, you have to kind of look at it from a perspective that if you're selling in a buyer's market, which we are in today, what you're going to purchase probably has reduced in value, much like what you're going to sell. So it really doesn't have much of a bearing equity-wise. What's more important is to look into the markets that you choose to move to. Some markets perform better, even in a down market. It's important to establish what your end game is, whether you want to extract the equity from your home or you really just want to reduce your footprint.
So let's move to the things to do list. Okay, I'm thinking of downsizing. Where do I start?
Well, I think the thing is that you have to determine what the value of your home is first. Okay. And then also what your end game is. If it is to reduce that equity, you want to look at the areas that you want to purchase in and see what the value of those homes are. So it gives you kind of an idea and a perspective of where you stand as far as the equity that you'd be able to get out of your home.
What else should I have on my to-do list at this time?
Of course, if you're going to realize some equity from the sale of your home, you probably want to get a financial planner involved to help you with the equity that you're going to extract from the home. Now, maybe that you want to help your children purchase their first home, and you want to determine what to do with that money, perhaps for your retirement, and as I said, for perhaps helping your children purchase their first home.
Ray, I've got a 3,000 square foot home. The kids are all moved out. What should I be thinking when I'm thinking of the next home, when I'm downsizing?
Well, this is a great question, Nick. And I'll tell you, you shouldn't even just be considering what your needs are today, but what your needs are going to be 15 years from now. I'll give you an example. I'm 61 years old, and today I'm still mobile. I can still cut the grass. I can still do things. But in 15 years, that mobility may not be there anymore. And I have to consider that factor. I also have to consider I'm still working today. What happens when I retire? Am I going to want to travel more? Am I going to want to have less maintenance on the home? Am I going to want somebody to take care of that maintenance? Or am I going to be a homebody and stay home and take care of it myself? But I still have to look at what my the physical factor of this is going to be.
The other part of it, Ray, is I got a 3,000 square foot home. It's been well lived in. But guess what? I've got 3,000 square foot and years of gathering lots of different furniture and...
Absolutely. And you know what? I think this is the one element that paralyzes people from making the move in general. It's the decluttering. It's getting rid of years of accumulating stuff. Not only that, you may have bedrooms with beds in them that are not used any longer, and you need to remove them. So if you're moving from a 4-bedroom to, let's say, a 2-bedroom bungalow, you have excess furniture that you're going to need to get rid of. And that is the one element that I find paralyzes people in general. And it prolongs it prolongs them making the decision of downsizing.
Over and above contacting the real estate expert on downsizing and a mortgage broker, just in case you need a mortgage, what other professionals will I need to probably think of when I'm looking to make that move?
Well, if you, financial planner, which we mentioned before, You're going to need to get in line with movers. You're going to need to have stagers come in, perhaps to accentuate your property for the sale. Yeah, that's basically it.
So I've made a decision now, Ray. I'm downsizing. I'm going to make the move. What do I do for my home? Well, how do I prep it for the next step?
That's great. And if you haven't touched your home in years, let's say you've lived there for 30 years and you've never touched it, it's dated. There's little cosmetic changes that you could do. And let me just give you a quick example. I just handled an estate sale. And when I went in with the executors to have a look, the cupboards were from the 1970s. The walls were a neon green, and the borders were a neon yellow. The floors were discolored linoleum. I went in with my contractor and said, listen, what can we do on a budget? This is an estate sale. And with a very limited budget, they transformed the whole house, and it made such a difference in the end result. We managed just selling it.
All right. So you're talking about, again, maintenance, decor. Obviously, those lovely linoleum and cupboards were great for the 70s, but we're living in the new century, and colors have certainly changed.
Exactly.
Right? Should I buy first, or should I sell first?
That's the age-old question, isn't it? Should I buy or should I sell? Depends on the market you're in. Right now, we are definitely in a buyer's market, so you would have to sell your home before you buy. There's just no question or no way around it. You don't want to be stuck with two homes. And then you also don't want to be stuck in the game of having to do price reductions and not be able to get the amount that you need for the purchase of the other home.
A good opportunity has come up. I haven't sold my home yet. Do I pass on it? What are my risks of buying it before I sell my house?
Oh boy, if you buy a home before you sell, well, again, you risk the possibility of owning two homes.
Right.
Could become very problematic unless you have the cash resources to pay for that home outright cash. Financing could become a nightmare, and could leave you, like I say, owning two homes at the same time.
Now, you and I were just chatting off camera regarding a couple examples you saw recently where the person obviously bought before they sold. What did they have to do from a financing point of view to accommodate this?
Great question. Yes, and that conversation was amazing. My clients bridge financed. So about a week prior to the closing of their sale, they were able to take possession of their purchase. So they were able to move in leisurely, take care of things, paint, whatever they needed to do with the new house. But what ended up happening on closing of their sale, the buyers couldn't close. But what they did is they bridge financed. So that saved them. They were able to move in. The bank financed them for, typically it was a short period of time, it was supposed to be, but the buyers ended up not being able to close on their purchase or the sale of their home. It was tied up for a month in one occasion and 2 months on another occasion. But because the bridge financing was in place, my clients were saved. And what ended up happening, all those costs incurred from the time it was supposed to close to when it actually closed, those buyers were on the hook for all of it.
So you have a situation where there was a buyer who bailed, and potentially a buyer or a situation where your client wanted to buy and hadn't sold yet. So, I mean, they're obviously using you. You're the expert. You are the professional in the real estate market, and you're telling them the risk that are involved in doing something like this, especially in this market where, as you say, it's a buyer's market. So it means it's not a seller's market.
Yes. Yeah. No, I've actually saw recently where that happened, where it's someone I know, and they bought before they sold. This only happened about a month ago.
Right.
And what ended up happening was they were within 2 weeks of closing on their purchase. They had started off at $2 million, and in the end, they had to sell for $1.5 million while they purchased for $1.9 million. So they were scrambling to get financing together to offset that difference.
Again, I've made my decision. I've done everything you said. What are some of the other common pitfalls that someone looking to downsize usually runs into and needs to take into consideration?
Well, I think really the biggest pitfall is really the emotional stress behind downsizing. Just imagine you've lived in a home, you have family memories, you've raised your children in that home, if you have children, you've built a life together with your spouse and children, and now all of a sudden you're leaving all those memories behind. The stress is overwhelming for so many people. And I've actually had it happen on one occasion where I was doing the listing agreement and the wife broke down at the table. And the husband consoled her. But all at that moment when she was putting pen to paper, the emotions just overtook her. And she said, well, we're not going to have our kids over to our pool anymore and grandkids over. And it was just so overwhelming. And also, I think you really have to plan for the future as well. Estate planning is critical, and that's where having an estate professional on your hand financially to help you through the process would be invaluable. And also, you need the assistance of professionals such as lawyers to help you through the process.
Now, Ray, I'm thinking of doing this. How far in ahead should I plan for something like this?
Oh my, you have to plan months in advance. As I said, it becomes paralyzing when you think of decluttering. Big piece of advice I could give you if you're considering on moving and tackling the decluttering issue is start small, start room by room by room. And Nick, you're in financing. You know what it's like, right? Just look at it this way. Let's say you have 3 credit cards and you have debt. And what I've heard that the best thing you could do is pay off that small credit card first. It gives you a sense of satisfaction, right? And the motivation to continue forward. It's the same with decluttering. Start with a small room. Tackle that room. Once that's done, it'll give you the motivation to move forward.
With your clients, based on your experience with them, and they're downsizing, do they downsize to the same area they're living in, or do they tend to sort of push out into more?
No, that's a great question as well, because a lot of them want to gravitate towards family. Family sometimes moves in different directions, and they long for their family. You know, if it's an hour and a half away, I've seen that they like to gravitate and migrate closer to family. I really think that if you're downsizing, it's a move that you only want to make once. This is not something that 15 years down the road. Can I share another story with you?
Sure, absolutely.
This is actually kind of a crazy story. It was a couple, 91 and 92. They wanted to move closer to their children in Barrie from Brampton. And when I sat down with them, they wanted to buy a freehold at 91 and 92. I tried to say, hey, maybe a condo would be better, no maintenance, but they were dead set on it. And they ended up buying a freehold. Now that to me does not suggest great planning for downsizing, because you're not going to have, first of all, you're still going to have the maintenance involved unless your children chip in and others chip in to help you. But it doesn't leave you the time in order to, it just wasn't done correctly.
Yeah, I mean,
would you downsize at 92 to a freehold, Nick?
No, not at all. I'm looking for the condo or the retirement home at that point in time.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about downsizing during a divorce.
Okay.
Right? What are some of the things legally that you will require to assist with the situation?
Right. Well, in order to proceed with the sale of the home, you would need the separation agreement.
Right.
That would then enable you to move forward with selling the matrimonial home. And once that's established, yes, then we can list the house and market the home. But not up until that time.
Right. So you're talking separation agreement, probably talking to a mortgage broker to determine how much you're going to qualify for.
Yes.
When you
That's
get the
right.
net proceeds and your share of it, and you have to go and buy again.
That's great. And that's a great point, Nick, because, one may not qualify for the same amount as the other spouse. That's a great point.
Well, Ray, thanks very much for coming in today and sharing your expertise with us. Folks, keep us in mind for the next publication of The Mortgage Den. Thanks, Ray.
Thanks for having me, Nick.